Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit is here back again with Hunter x Hunter. We're on episode 96, and in the last episode we had a number of things go down. So we had Gon and Killua who were shown Kite in his current state, and they basically figured out as soon as they saw him that it was kind of done and you're not really going to get him back. And that basically just led into Gon sort of getting really pissed off. He doesn't call that one Kite anymore, he calls it that one, and so that will probably be a fight to end off the arc, I'd imagine. That's what I sort of theorised in the post-discussion for the last episode. But speaking of fights, there has been a number of them that have already been laid out, and I do believe that even though the plan to split the Royal Guards up, you know, so they're all on their own, plus the king as well, even though that plan hasn't gone through yet, because the narrator has said it, I feel like it's a meta kind of thing where these are the fights that are going to happen anyway. So it's Gon and Killua versus Neferpitou. You know, that one obviously makes a lot of story sense considering it was Neferpitou that, you know, ended up killing Kite. Knuckle and Shoot versus Yuppie. That will be an interesting one, I think, just because of Knuckle and Shoot's sort of the way they fight and the sort of abilities that they have access to. I think will be interesting. Morel and Nov are going up against Shire, the weird butterfly moth dude who we haven't seen a lot of, so that will also be an interesting one. It'll also be interesting to see how Nov fights as well, because we've only seen him use that teleport thing. And that leaves Netero versus Meruem, which as I said in the post-discussion for the last episode, I'm not really sure how that one's supposed to go, because if Meruem doesn't win and he loses, then that kind of is a bit of a disappointment, because he's supposed to be like really next level, and Netero already said that he would struggle against Neferpitou. So if he's going to struggle against the Royal Guards, then of course he's going to struggle against the king, you know. So, you know, we'll have to see how all of that goes. Again, it's not like a typical kind of shonen you know, show, so you know the chances of a lot of different things happening, you know, to cause, you know, certain things to happen. Who knows what can happen, right? There are a lot of different possibilities. And yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. So yeah, we're just going to get into episode 96 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 96. Great episode. Just so happy to see the Phantom Troop back. Like, I feel like for so long it's just been nothing but like fucking Chimera ants and taking on those. It's just nice to see them back, especially because they just keep showing up. You know, they just keep showing up in these different arcs. First of all, they had their own arc, and then they did the Greed Island, and they showed up there. And I'm glad that they came here to show up here as well. It just makes me wonder if Hisoka's going to show up, because I would like him to. But you know, aside from Hisoka, we got to see some pretty awesome things this episode. You know, the like different kinds of abilities and stuff that the Phantom Troop actually have, because we didn't really. Well, I remember when the Phantom Troop arc ended, when Kurapika put the condition on Chrollo, and because of that, Hisoka wasn't able to fight Chrollo. You know, and I remember saying like, "Fuck," like. It's so disappointing, because it just like ended, and it didn't seem to go anywhere. But so, you know, we didn't really get to see like a lot of the Phantom Troop members actually like do much in that arc back then. So to see them go up against these Chimera ants and just fuck them up is great. I always like it when shows, you know, they basically get either a group of sort of either rivals to the main characters or enemies to the main characters, but then they continue on, and then they introduce a new group of like evil characters that are in some ways a lot more evil, but then you have those two like the two sort of enemies of the main characters go up against each other. I always like it when they do that, because it kind of forces you to almost like look at the show in a different way, because for this one episode, and possibly even the next one if we don't go back to God and Killer, but it forces you to sort of put the like, you end up rooting for like characters who are one's enemies. You know what I mean? And it's great. It's good. You know, because that shows that there is character development there. You know, and when it finally does come back around, which I'm sure it will, back to, you know, Phantom Troop Arc Part 2 or whatever, you know, if Kurapika and whatnot ends up coming, you know, going head to head with him again, that it just means that much more. So that was really cool. Some of the attacks, man. Fucking what's his name? Begins with an S, doesn't it? Oh God, I'll be looking forever to try and find these names, because I do have a list of them. Shalnark, right? Shalnark went Super Saiyan because he stuck himself with his own with his own fucking pin that allows for manipulation, right? It seems like that's a key thing that goes along the different manipulators, because Illumi does it, that Chimera Ant that Shalnark just killed does it, and Shalnark himself does it. But that was insane. That absolutely just eviscerated them. And then Bonolanov, that guy, I'm sure I did say, like, I don't know what that guy's deal is. I remember just thinking back to the Phantom Troop arc that he was the one character that didn't do anything out of the Phantom Troop. And I was just, I completely just written him off as just like, meh, whatever. Like, if there ever comes, if we ever come to the Phantom Troop part 2 or whatever, that he would probably be one of the first ones to go, because no one really cares. But then, like, seeing what he did there was cool. I love the fact that he like summoned like the spirit thing, and he got that like sort of like tribal warrior gear on with a spear. That was cool. But the fact that they have holes that, when moving, produce a sound to disorientate the enemy and whatnot, and they use it in different ways is great. The Jupiter one, what? I mean, first of all, that attack is weird in the fact that, like, we're not on Earth in Hunter x Hunter, so where the fuck is it then? Like, I don't know. Is it supposed to be in the solar system somewhere? Where they inhabit? I don't know. It's weird. I suppose it could just take place on Earth in like a different, like, you know, so far into the future or something, where just like the you know, tectonic plates have just moved Earth around so much. But damn, Jesus, that's crazy. You had who was the other guy? Is it Finks, right? Winding up his arm. The more he winds it up, the stronger it becomes. And I said during the reaction that that's very similar to sort of Gon's Jajan Ken, where the idea is that, you know, the weakness is that you have to sort of power it up in order to get the attack off, but still, you know, absolutely decimated them. Who else? We didn't. Oh yeah. Oh fuck, what's her name? Oh god, this is gonna. Yeah, I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna find this. This one's gonna. Where are we? Where are we? It would have been towards the back end of the Greed Island arc, right? So it's got to be like it's Kaluto, right? Yes, Kaluto. Fucking hell. So she basically uses paper, and the first thought that I immediately had when, you know, the Chimera and they had the sort of the steel rope thing. Once you cut through that, and it's like, well, I've got paper, and it's like, well, it's very, it's very like what when we were being introduced in Nen the very first time, and Wing had got like a piece of paper or whatever, right, out of a book. He ripped up a page out of a book, right, and he made it rigid and solid, and then cut through like a can, right, because you can make it more rigid with Nen. And I guess that's just strictly what it is, and I don't really think of it much as a. I feel like the Hatsu that that Kaluto was using with the paper to sort of become telepathic in a way, because she makes those. I can't even remember what they're called. I know there's a name for them. I can't remember. Yeah, but like the string of basically the string all the paper together that she's obviously been cutting up and whatever into the into the actual characters, and then attach them to each of the things, so she's able to hear where. It's interesting that what she is doing is that she really wants to become the interim boss, I guess, while Chrollo's out. So I guess the Chrollo thing hasn't been settled yet, which is interesting. Because interim just means you're the boss until Chrollo comes back, right? But it's interesting that they're like, you see, because I just have this image of Illumi would want to get in and sort of I could imagine him wanting to take control of the Phantom Troop itself, right? I can see that being a thing with his character. So, and I believe that Kaluto is sort of working under Illumi, and Illumi's the one sort of in the background, trying maybe giving her this whole thing of just try and either blend in until we can figure something out, or this is the perfect opportunity to go in and become the interim boss, because she obviously used it to try and find out who would find the queen first, and then she can go to where Phaeton is and try and get the kill first, and then therefore that's that, so yeah, they went to Meteor City, which is the first time I think we've actually seen it in present, because we've only seen it in flashbacks before, right? Now, there was a group of people in fucking what you can only really describe as sort of gas masks. I mean, I guess walking around in that fucking place it can't be great for your lungs, surely. It's just fucking garbage city. It's called Garbage City, fuck it. So yeah, that's obviously where the Phantom Troop were obviously formed. They were talking about the council as well, so I don't know if I don't think we've ever. Was there ever a time where they were talking about the council? Have we ever heard about the council from Meteor City? I don't know, but I feel like because it's a sort of an underground. I mean, well, it's definitely not underground because it's above ground. But what I mean is the general, consensus about the place is it's sort of houses the underground sort of, all the fucking bad groups and everything are from there pretty much. And whatnot. So I feel whereas other places would have the likes of Diego in the East Gortor place and that palace, it might be sort of some monarchical rule, it might be monarchy or whatever, and then you might have other places that are run by obviously mafia and whatnot, and then other places, who knows, presidents, prime ministers, whatever the fuck. This place might just be run by just a council. They decide what to do. If it's each of them might have a representative of the different groups. That being said, I don't think any of the Phantom Troop really do have one of those, but the Phantom Troop sort of, because they do see it as their home, but do they really hang out there a lot? I feel they may do. It may just be because I don't know, they're just going on adventures and shit, but I mean, they are fighting for their home because they went back there to fucking sort this shit out, because this is where that woman fucking turned up. Now, I can't fucking remember her name, and I did write it down somewhere. I'll not be finding that one. But she's the Queen Scorpion lady. She got she has an ability that is dubbed the Sexy Stinger of Rebirth. Able to mutate humans, and I imagine anything else, into a chimera ant without having to eat them and then birth them like a thingy queen would do. And I always thought it was. I remember questioning back, way back when in this arc when she turned up, and it's sort of with the rest of them. There are so many more. If you were to point out males and females, out of those ants, I feel like she was really the only one that was at that level. She was I can't even remember the bloody ranks, a captain or whatever, right? Because she was on the same rank as what Cold was, I think, right? Of course, you had other ones like the lion dude has that sort of underling that's like a little girl that doesn't even look like any sort of horrific creation. She just looks like a little girl. But you know, it's interesting that, because I would think that like the soldier ants and everything that was birthed from the queen wouldn't really have a, like, you know, any sort of like gender, sex orientation. Like, they wouldn't be really male or female, I don't think. But I guess because she looks like a woman, that she just takes that on, and then she becomes a queen because of that. I mean, either way, the sexy stinger of rebirth thing just has to be a Nen ability that she's, you know, concocted to be able to, like, you know, to change people into chimera ants, and she can become the queen of her own thing. So yeah, I mean, I was thinking it was weird how humans are like mutated and stuff, and I was like, well, how the fuck has that happened? You know, but it's quite clear that's yeah. I mean, they basically said that's what it was. So what else? Yeah, and then other than that, the whole thing of I wanted to kind of talk a bit about the first come first serve thing for manipulators, which is an interesting sort of, I suppose, like, I never really thought about it before, but it's an interesting premise. That the thing is with the chimera ants, and especially that guy, because the manipulator chimera ant that was against Shalnark, I don't think we've ever seen him before, so he's a kind of a newer one. Now, the chimera ants themselves, they're not really well versed in like and experienced, and you know, I don't know really, like, it's hard to really tell how much each of them truly know about the world and everything like that. But the fact that he says like it's sort of first come first serve for manipulators makes me think that, is that actually true, or is there a power balance thing there? Like, for instance, I'd imagine I don't know, because Shalnark seemed to understand that as well. I was just thinking, like, if you're talking about like a really like master manipulator, so like Illumi or something, right, against, let's just say, some random dude who is a manipulator as well, but I don't know, he's only been doing manipulation whatever for a year, so he's nowhere near as experienced or anything like that. Illumi is the better manipulator, but would it still be first come first serve if that random guy who's only been a manipulator and figured that out for like a year, if he was to get somebody before Illumi, would Illumi be able to go in and try and manipulate, like, and overwrite that, or would it be futile because that guy got there first? I don't even know if this will ever come into play. Like, if you're trying to like take control over the same thing, I don't know if that'll really ever come into play, because I mean, we're at 96 now, so you know, we're coming up at what, like 55 episodes left. I don't know. I don't know if there might be, but I don't know. I just thought it was interesting, just as something to sort of like to talk about or whatever. But yeah, that was great. So I can't wait for the next episode. So Patrons, you guys will be getting episode 97 and 98 tomorrow. So that's good for me. It means I don't have to wait very long. Don't have to wait very long to go watch it. Only wait until tomorrow. So yeah, should be fun. And then see what other sort of powers we'll see from like Phaeton and Shizuku and whatnot. And yeah, that's the thing as well. Shizuku, like, it looks like she's her hair's changed a bit. You know, just a little design thing I noticed. It does seem that way. But yeah, whatever. Right. That's all I've got. So, thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I've linked to certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there. And I also have a Patreon page as well. So if you do want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. There is a bunch of different tiers and rewards depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's the early access tier, $5 a month. That gives you access to shows a week early, and you get 4 episodes of Hunt x Hunt every week, as opposed to the usual 2 that the general public gets. So by the time this episode comes out on YouTube for the general public, you can go over and become an early access tier patron and get access to the rest of this show's reactions. So if you can binge watch the whole show within a month, it's only going to cost you $5 to watch the rest of the reactions. So it's a pretty good deal. There's also $10 for full length there. That doesn't matter for this show, but for other shows you will need that. And then there are other tiers where you can pay to have certain shows react to. So if you want me to react to a certain show, then you can go have a look at those tiers, see what they're they're all about. But that's all I've got, so thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.